the other news today that is getting a bit of traction and publicity around the world are these ugly scenes we saw down at Bondi Beach yesterday. And as I said off the top of the program, it feels like Groundhog Day. Each Monday, it feels as though we are working out what chaos happened during protests on our city streets. And it was far from a shock to see that a pro-Palestine protest on the iconic Bondi Beach got out of hand. Police were forced into action when a brawl broke out between the pro-Palestine and pro-Israel demonstrators yesterday at around 11:30. You could see it all over social media, yelling from all sides and physical altercations, but no arrests were made. Really, though, this was by design for the pro-Palestine mob who lobbed themselves into Sydney's Jewish heartland. Conflict was what people wanted to see, and it's what they got. I thought we'd catch up with Robert Gregory, the CEO of the Australian Jewish Association. He joins me on the line right now. Robert, good morning to you.
Good morning, Mark. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, mate. I said off the top of the program, and I said on Friday, in fact, I said I question the motive as to why pro-Palestine protesters wanted to take their rallies away from the CBD into Bondi, which is the heart of the Jewish community here in Sydney. And I'm sure, Robert, you'd agree with me, Jewish Australians have put up with enough since October 7 of 2023, and now they've got to put up with pro-Palestine protesters in their backyard.
Well, you're right. There's over 100 beaches in Sydney, and they picked the one with the most Jews, so we don't think that was an accident. They wanted a confrontation, and you're talking about what's showing all around the world. Well, the world's already seen the Sydney Opera House, the Sydney Harbour Bridge used as props for these protests, and now our beloved Bondi Beach as well is being broadcast around the world. So when's it going to end? It's terrible.
Were you down there yourself, Robert?
I wasn't down there myself, but many members of my organisation were, and we were very supportive of the organisers.
Well, what are your staff and what are your team telling you? How did this all turn pear-shaped yesterday? Was something said by a member of the public? Was something said by the pro-Palestine protesters? Why did we see the scuffles yesterday? Have you been able to get to the bottom of that?
Yeah, well, we were very worried beforehand, and we put out a statement encouraging police to make sure they have enough resources. We didn't think this protest should go ahead. We thought it was likely to end in confrontation. But for most of the morning was very peaceful. The Jewish protest, at least, was singing happy Australian flags, flags of Israel as well, and just people wanting. I mean, don't forget, these people, some of them were told, to stay away from the Opera House when it was lit up. Some of them avoid the CBD because they're worried about these protests that take place every week. And now to see it come to right in the neighbourhood where they live was too much for a lot of people. So this counter-protest, it was organised by a group called Stand With Us, with many other grassroots groups and individuals taking part, and it just spread spontaneously. A lot of people in the neighbourhood, Jewish, not Jewish, showed up to just say this sort of protest is not welcome at the beach.
There were though, Robert, some horrible things said, and I'm not suggesting that who was in the right or wrong here, but surely you would condemn those that said deport the lot of them. You're the terrorist here. I mean, we shouldn't be saying things like that, should we?
No, I think everyone needs to act with decorum. Tensions are running high. People are feeling very emotional, but you always need to remember that to behave responsibly and to act with decorum. Some of the comments, telling people to go back where they came from, they're not acceptable. There's a bit of a grain of truth there in that the Jewish community would never go and stage a protest in Bankstown or Lakemba or somewhere. It just would never occur to anyone. So I think people were trying to express that, but perhaps some of them did it in the wrong way. So yeah, everyone should always remember to keep the tensions low and act with decorum.
Yeah, well said. I said off the top of the show, Robert, when a community feels targeted, cornered and abandoned by those who are elected to maintain a peaceful society, it will inevitably find its own voice. Is that what yesterday was all about? Standing up for those Jewish Australians who have felt persecuted and attacked with anti-Semitism since October 7 and wanting to show I suppose, a sign that, you're not going to sit back and cop it anymore, given that you had pro-Palestine protesters on Bondi Beach?
Yeah, there's a lot of frustration in the Jewish community, particularly with the federal government, but also with all levels of authorities. I mean, we saw the state government did try to not allow the Harbour Bridge protest to go ahead, and it was overruled by the court. So there's frustration with with all levels and people feeling they're not being listened to. So we saw a lot of that come out. I mean, the Bondi community is very welcoming. Everyone can come down to use the beach. Just leave your placards, leave your flags, your slogans at home and come enjoy it on Father's Day with everyone else. So I think that was sort of the sentiment, and a lot of people are hoping that now it inspires more Australians to say just enough is enough with these protests. I mean, it's disrupting Australians' way of life. It's shutting down our CBDs, and it's gone on now for almost 2 years. So it's really enough.
Yeah, couldn't agree more with you, Robert. Well, thanks for jumping on and having a chat. I thought there were some ugly scenes down there yesterday, but sadly, I sat behind this microphone on Friday and I had a feeling that was going to happen. I mean, it's already a tinderbox, so to speak, the heightened emotion out there at the moment. And when you put pro-Palestine protesters in the heart of, a Jewish community, what were the authorities expecting? So let's hope there's not a repeat. Let's hope that people can demonstrate peacefully into the future. But I think you're right in suggesting that the entire city's drawing a little tired of these regular protests from the pro-Palestine Action Group and the other organisations associated with them as well. Appreciate your time, Robert. Thanks so much for the chat.
Thank you.
That's Robert Gregory, CEO of the Australian Jewish Association. I cannot wait for there to be a Monday morning when I come to work and I don't have to sit here talking about another protest, and given what is happening on the streets of Sydney. We've got the Domain, we've got other places in which you can protest. Why there was a need to go to Bondi Beach? I think there was a motive behind it. And, well, what they planned eventuated. And I think it's the responsibility of not only the police, but it's the responsibility of our elected officials to say enough is enough.